Novak Djokovic has just sounded a massive alarm bell, and he wants to completely revolutionize the sport of tennis as we know it. Here's exactly what he said. We should change the format of the scoring. Not play up to 6 games per set. Play up to 4, possibly no advantage. Keep best of 5 sets. Keep the matches within a 2-hour window. It's best for everyone.
What is one tennis take or tennis opinion that you will die on a hill for, no matter how much hate you might get for it?
We should change the format of the scoring. Not play up to 6 games in a set, play it up to 4, possibly no ad, best of 5 sets. Keep the matches within a 2-hour window. It's best for everyone.
Whoa! Let that sink in. Shortened sets? No ad scoring? 2-hour caps? Before anyone instantly jumps down Novak's throat and calls him crazy, let's take a breath and look back. Tennis scorelines have always evolved. If we dive into the history books of the tennis scoring system, it has never been static. The legendary 15, 30, 40 scoring structure dates all the way back to medieval France and Jeu de Paume, where scores originally tracked clock faces or court distances. Over the centuries, the game has constantly adapted. Things like the tiebreak, invented by James Van Allen way back in the 1960s, weren't always part of tennis. They were introduced specifically to curb endless sets and fix scheduling nightmares. Now, I was actually discussing this exact topic with one of my university mates right before hitting record on this video. And guess what? He was completely on board with Novak's train of thought. He looked right at me and said, Fahad, think about the drastically reduced burnout and injury rates. Think about the scheduling crisis in modern tennis. You'd have fresher athletes, and most importantly, massive spikes in fan engagement. You know what? I completely agree with the validity of the points he's making. The logic is right there in front of us. However, it forces a massive question. Are that many structural changes actually good for the soul of tennis? It's just my opinion, and you are more than welcome to passionately disagree with me down in the comments, but I am left feeling seriously uneasy about this proposal. On one side, I totally get why Novak would want it. Look at the brutal reality of the modern tennis landscape. You look at the situation with the grueling 2-week Masters 1000 events, and almost every big tournament now sees an absolute wave of high-profile withdrawals simply because human bodies cannot play that much elite-level tennis in such a congested calendar. How about reducing the scoreline to ensure that players have a lighter physical burden on their bodies? That way, they can remain fully competitive across all the big tournaments without breaking down by March. That is one side of the coin that I can definitely get behind. Player welfare has to matter. But if you look at it from my perspective, as a passionate fan and a historian, I am just a bit too uneasy. I know I'll probably be in the minority on this one, and that's totally fine. Look, I'm a historian, and I love tennis tournaments for their distinct identities. Having every single tournament blend into a homogenized, identical routine with nothing uniquely quirky about them, that strips away the magic. Now, that doesn't mean I am fundamentally opposed to all change. Of course not. I actually loved the fact that the Grand Slam events finally adopted a consistent final set tiebreak. Although part of me wishes they hadn't touched the sacred final sets of slams, I am so glad we no longer have those insane, Isner-Mahut-esque marathons where even the winner is practically a loser because their body is totally destroyed for the next round. That change made practical, physical sense. At the same time, I've been a hardcore tennis fan since 2001. I've watched Grand Slam events grow, not just because the tennis was out of this world, but because of how uniquely distinct they each used to be. The Australian Open. It was famously unique because we used to have the first men's semi-final on a Thursday and the second one on a Friday, giving one finalist an extra day of rest. Roland Garros. It was legendary for starting on a Sunday instead of the traditional Monday, creating a totally different rhythm for the opening week. Wimbledon. Oh man! Wimbledon had the best traditions! The defending champion always opened proceedings on day 1 on center court. And let's not forget the iconic Middle Sunday where not a single ball was hit, allowing the grass to rest until Manic Monday, when both the men's and women's 4th round draws collided in an absolute tennis carnival. The US Open. It stood completely alone as the ultimate hard-court pioneer, operating on the final set tiebreaker long before anyone else dared to touch it. All of those Grand Slams were unique. They had a living, breathing personality and identity. When Wimbledon changed its scoring format back in 2019 to introduce a final set tiebreak at 12-12, it caused massive waves. And ironically, it happened immediately in that legendary men's final. Both sides of the fan base were actually left feeling a bit disappointed that the epic battle was abruptly halted by a tiebreak, rather than letting them fight it out organically, like Roger Federer and Andy Roddick did in their epic 2009 final that ended 16-14 in the fifth. That 12-12 rule was so controversial it was tweaked almost immediately. Eventually, we moved to the unified 10-point tiebreak at 6-6 in the final set across all 4 Grand Slams. And honestly, I totally like it. It keeps the core drama alive while saving the players from self-destruction. But now, reducing the core set scoring system down to just 4 games, cutting the heart out of sets, I personally am completely against it. And it's just my perspective. I love tennis for what it is, warts and all. You want to make changes to scoring to protect the athletes without destroying the sport's identity, you don't need to mutilate the set scores. Look at other alternatives! There was actual talk at one point about having best of 3 sets for the first week and best of 5 sets for the second week during Grand Slams. Now that is a fantastic proposal. That is something that draws a much better conclusion, protects player health, keeps the drama alive in the second week, and completely avoids reducing a set score down to a sprint to 4 games. What do you think? Is Novak right, or are we going too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.